The coffee in Commander Park Jin-woo's cup had gone cold hours ago, but he did not notice. His eyes stayed fixed on the screens showing deep space around Earth. Numbers moved across the displays in endless streams. Most nights at Luna Defense Station were quiet, but tonight felt different. Park Jin-woo had been watching space for 12 years. He knew the difference between normal cosmic noise and something wrong. The sensors were picking up patterns that should not exist. Small changes in gravity waves. Tiny shifts in background radiation. Things so small that the computer almost missed them. Dr. Lee Sumin arrived at the station 3 hours after Park Jin-woo called her. She was Earth's best expert on alien life, even though no one had ever found any aliens before. Her job was to study what might be out there and prepare for the day humans would meet them. That day might be today. "Show me what you found," Dr. Lee said as she sat down next to the commander. Park Jin-woo pointed to the main screen. "Look at these readings from the edge of our solar system. Something is moving out there, something big." Dr. Lee studied the data for a long time. Her face grew more serious with each passing minute. The patterns were too regular to be natural. Too organized to be space debris? Too careful to be anything human-made. "This is not natural," she said finally. "Someone is out there, and they are trying to hide?" Park Jin-woo felt his stomach drop. Every human had wondered about this day. The day when Earth would discover it was not alone. But these readings did not suggest friendly visitors coming to say hello. "Should I contact President Kim Tae-yun?" Park Jin-woo asked. Dr. Lee nodded. "Yes, and tell him to activate Protocol 7. Protocol 7 was Earth's biggest secret. For 50 years, governments around the world had worked together in complete silence. They had built weapons and defenses that no one talked about. They had prepared for a war that might never come. But if it did come, humanity would be ready. President Kim Tae-yun was in a meeting when the call came through his secure communication device. The device only rang when the world faced its greatest dangers. He had hoped to never hear that sound. "Mr. President," Park Jin-woo's voice was steady but urgent. "We have confirmed contact. They are at the edge of our solar system." The president felt time slow down around him. Every leader of every nation had prepared for this moment. They had plans and backup plans and backup plans for their backup plans. But now that the moment was here, it felt impossible to believe. "How long do we have?" President Kim asked. "Unknown, sir." "They are moving slowly, probably studying us first." "Maybe days, maybe weeks." President Kim closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, he was no longer just a president. He was now the leader of all humanity in its first war against aliens. "Activate Protocol 7, he said. "Contact Admiral Han Minji immediately." Admiral Han Minji was sleeping in her quarters, aboard the research vessel Pacific Explorer, when her communication device woke her up. The ship looked like it studied ocean currents and marine life. In reality, it was one of Earth's most advanced warships, disguised to look completely harmless. "Admiral, this is President Kim. Protocol 7 is now active. You have command of all defense forces." Admiral Han sat up quickly. She had trained for this moment her entire adult life, but she had secretly hoped it would never come. "Understood. Mr. President, all hidden fleets will be ready within 6 hours. Around the solar system, ships that looked like mining vessels and research stations began to change. Panels slid away to reveal weapons. Engines that seemed designed for slow cargo transport suddenly showed their true power. Communication arrays that appeared to study space. Weather began coordinating military operations. The Keth Empire had been watching Earth for 3 weeks. Their advanced scouts used the best stealth technology in the known galaxy. They could observe any planet without being detected. At least, that was what they thought. Scout leader Vex Corden reviewed the data his ships had collected about Earth. The planet had one intelligent species that had recently developed nuclear weapons and basic space travel. They had a few small settlements on their moon and some primitive research stations around their solar system. "They are exactly like the others," Vex Corden reported to his fleet commander, "barely out of their home world. No real defenses, no understanding of galactic warfare. Standard invasion protocols will work perfectly. The Keth Empire had conquered 47 worlds using the same approach every time. Send scouts to study the target, arrive with overwhelming force. Demand surrender? Most species gave up immediately when they saw Keth warships. The few that tried to fight never lasted more than a few days, but Vex Corden had made a mistake. His stealth ships were very good, but they were not perfect. Dr. Lee Soo-min had designed Earth's sensor network specifically to find things that were trying to hide. The Keth scouts thought they were invisible, but humans had been watching them. Since they arrived, Admiral Han Minji stood in the command center of her flagship. Around her, officers worked at stations controlling weapons and defenses that officially did not exist. The room buzzed with quiet activity as Earth's hidden military machine came to life. Status report, the Admiral said. All weapon platforms are online, reported Captain Yang Xiaoho. Gravitational cannons in the asteroid belt are charged and ready. Quantum communication network is fully operational. All disguised warships have confirmed ready status, Admiral Han nodded. The Keth thought they were approaching a weak and unprepared planet. Instead, they were flying into a trap that had taken decades to prepare. Humanity might be new to galactic warfare, but they had been planning for this fight longer than the aliens realized. Dr. Cho Yuno worked frantically in her laboratory, analyzing every piece of data about the alien ships. She had studied theoretical alien technology for years, but now she had real examples to examine. The Keth ships used energy patterns she had seen before and captured signals from deep space. Admiral, Dr. Cho said over the communication system, I have analyzed their ship designs. They follow patterns we identified 15 years ago. Our weapons should be effective against their defenses. For 50 years, humanity had been finding pieces of alien technology that had drifted into the solar system. Broken parts from ancient battles, crashed probes from long-dead civilizations. Each piece had been studied and reverse-engineered. Earth scientists had built an entire understanding of alien technology from these scattered fragments. Engineer Nam Hyun-woo made final adjustments to the electromagnetic pulse mines hidden throughout the asteroid belt. The mines looked exactly like ordinary space rocks, but each one contained enough energy to disable an alien warship. The Keth would not see them until it was too late. The aliens continued their slow approach toward Earth, confident in their technological superiority. Their ships were larger and more powerful than anything humans had ever built. Their weapons could destroy cities from orbit. Their shields could stop nuclear weapons. But the Keth had never fought an enemy that had been preparing specifically. For them, they had never faced a species that had studied alien warfare for generations before making first contact. They were about to learn that sometimes preparation and intelligence could beat raw power. As night fell over Earth, billions of people went to sleep, unaware that their planet was about to face its greatest test. But above them, in hidden bases and disguised ships, thousands of humans prepared for a war that would determine the future of their species. The invasion was coming, but humanity was ready. The Keth invasion fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system like a storm made of metal and fire. 300 warships emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Each ship was larger than anything humans had ever built. Their hulls gleamed with alien metals and energy weapons charged with deadly light. Fleet Admiral Vex Morden stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the small blue planet that would soon belong to the Keth Empire. He had conquered 17 worlds using the same simple plan: show overwhelming force, demand surrender, accept victory. This would be conquest number 18. Begin standard intimidation protocol. Admiral Morden ordered his communications officer. The message that reached Earth was transmitted on every frequency humans used for communication. The alien voice was deep and harsh, speaking broken English that sounded like it had been learned from old television broadcasts. People of Earth, you are now property of Keth Empire. Surrender all military forces. Surrender all government leaders. Surrender all weapons. Obey, and some of you will live as slaves. Resist, and all of you will die. You have one solar day to decide. Captain Yang Xiaoho received the message at Luna Defense Station. He had been chosen for this moment because of his calm nature and clear thinking. The fate of humanity might depend on how he responded to this first contact. Captain Yang activated Earth's reply system. His voice was steady and polite when he spoke. This is Captain Yang Xiaoho representing Earth Defense Command. We have received your message. After careful consideration, we decline your offer. On the Keth flagship, the communications officer looked confused. He played the message again to make sure he had heard correctly. Admiral, the officer said, the humans say they decline our offer. Admiral Morden laughed. In 17 previous invasions, no species had ever declined. Some had begged for mercy, some had offered tribute, some had simply gone silent in terror, but none had politely declined to surrender. They do not understand our power, Admiral Morden said. Show them what Keth weapons can do. The alien fleet moved into attack formation. 50 ships aimed their plasma cannons at empty space near Earth's moon and fired. The weapons created explosions bright enough to be seen from Earth's surface. Each blast contained enough energy to destroy a human city. Dr. Cho Yuna watched the display from her laboratory deep inside Luna Defense Station. She had been studying intercepted Keth communications for months, learning their language and understanding their military tactics. The aliens were following their standard pattern exactly as she had predicted. They always start with intimidation, Dr. Cho explained to the other officers watching the alien fire show. They expect us to panic and surrender immediately. When we do not, they will advance closer and make more threats. Captain Yang opened a communication channel to Admiral Han Minji aboard her hidden flagship. Admiral, the aliens have completed their intimidation display. They are moving to phase 2 of their attack pattern. Admiral Han studied the tactical display showing the positions of all Keth ships. The aliens had arranged themselves in the same formation they had used in their last 5 invasions. They were predictable, and that would be their weakness. All units maintain stealth protocols, Admiral Han ordered. Let them come closer. The Keth fleet began moving toward Earth, confident that the humans would surrender before they came within weapons range. Admiral Morden had seen this many times before. The primitive species would realize their helplessness and beg for mercy. But as the Keth ships advanced, Dr. Cho Yuna was making final preparations for Earth's first surprise. She had identified weaknesses in Keth ship design from studying their energy signatures. Their shields were powerful but had specific frequencies that could be disrupted. Engineer Nam Hyung-woo sat in a control room hidden inside a fake asteroid. Around him, dozens of electromagnetic pulse mines waited for activation. The mines had been placed over several years, disguised as space debris and forgotten satellites. The Keth had scanned them during their reconnaissance but had dismissed them as harmless junk. All mine systems are ready, Engineer Nam reported. Detonation sequence is programmed and standing by. The alien fleet continued its steady advance. Admiral Morden was pleased with how smoothly this conquest was proceeding. The humans had shown no signs of military preparation. Their few space stations appeared to be civilian research facilities. Their small fleet of ships looked like cargo vessels and mining equipment. Major Park Soi-ong monitored the approach from the secret command center on the far side of Earth's moon. Her railgun platforms had been built into the lunar surface, disguised as scientific equipment and mining operations. Each platform could launch tungsten projectiles at incredible speeds, fast enough to penetrate any known alien armor. Enemy fleet is approaching optimal range, Major Park reported. All platforms are locked onto priority targets. Dr. Lim Ya-min worked frantically in his laboratory, making last-minute modifications to human weapons based on the intelligence. Dr. Cho had gathered about Keth technology. He had discovered that their shields operated on rotating frequencies, but there were brief moments when the rotation created gaps in coverage. I have uploaded the targeting modifications to all weapon systems, Dr. Lim announced. Our weapons will fire during shield rotation gaps, Hit probability has increased by 60%. The Keth fleet reached the asteroid belt, still in their standard formation. Admiral Morden was beginning to feel impatient. Usually, species surrendered before his fleet came this close to their planet. The humans were taking longer to break than expected. "Open a channel to Earth," Admiral Morden ordered. "I will give them one final warning." But before the communication could be opened, Engineer Nam Hyun-woo activated the minefield. Explosions erupted throughout the Keth formation as electromagnetic pulse mines detonated simultaneously. The mines had been designed specifically to overload alien electrical systems. 40 Keth warships lost power instantly, drifting helplessly as their crews struggled to restart critical systems. "What happened?" Admiral Morden shouted as alarms rang throughout his flagship. "Where did those explosions come from?" His tactical officer studied the sensor readings with growing alarm. "Admiral, the explosions came from objects we scanned as debris. They were mines, sir." The humans mined the asteroid belt. Admiral Morden stared at the tactical display in shock. In 17 previous conquests, no species had ever prepared defenses before his arrival. They had always been surprised and unprepared. But these humans had been ready for him. Lieutenant Commander Shin Yujin watched the mine explosions from her position, commanding a squadron of modified cargo ships. The ships looked like ordinary civilian vessels, but they had been secretly equipped with military-grade weapons and shields. Her squadron was humanity's rapid response force, ready to exploit any weakness in the alien formation. "All ships, execute attack pattern Alpha," Lieutenant Commander Shin ordered. "Target the disabled vessels. Maximum speed, maximum firepower." The human ships emerged from hiding places throughout the asteroid belt, moving faster than the aliens had thought possible. Their weapons had been modified with Dr. Lim's frequency targeting system, striking at the exact moments when Keth shields were weakest. Admiral Morden watched in disbelief as human ships swarmed around his disabled vessels. The humans were using tactics he had never seen before. They moved in small, fast groups instead of large formations. They attacked from multiple directions at once. They targeted specific systems instead of trying to destroy entire ships. "How are they doing this?" Admiral Morden demanded. "How do they know our weaknesses?" Captain Yang Seoho opened a new communication channel to the alien fleet. His voice was still calm and polite, but now it carried a different message. "Fleet Admiral Morden, this is Captain Yang representing Earth Defense Command. We have studied your military tactics for many years. We know how you fight, and we know how to beat you. This is your opportunity to surrender." For the first time in his military career, Admiral Morden heard someone demanding his surrender instead of offering their own. The primitive humans had somehow turned his own tactics against him. They had been prepared for his arrival. They had weapons he did not understand. They had strategies he had never encountered. The battle raged throughout the asteroid belt. As more human ships joined the fight, Dr. Cho Yuna coordinated the attack from Luna Defense Station, using her knowledge of Keth tactics to predict their responses. Every move the aliens made had been anticipated. Every counterstrike had been prepared for. Admiral Han Mingji watched the battle unfold from her flagship, still hidden among the outer planets. The first phase of Earth's defense plan was working perfectly. The aliens were learning that humanity was not another weak species to be easily conquered. "Admiral," Captain Yang reported, "the enemy has lost 70 ships and is requesting reinforcements from their home territory." "Should we proceed to Phase 2? Admiral Han smiled grimly. "Phase 2 would show the aliens that humanity's surprises were just beginning. Proceed with Phase 2, she ordered. "Let them call for help. We will be ready for whatever they send." "Proceed with Phase 2, she ordered. "Let them call for help. We will be ready for whatever they send." The Keth invasion fleet, reduced and confused, regrouped at the edge of the asteroid belt. Admiral Morden stared at the tactical display, showing his losses. 40 ships destroyed, 30 more heavily damaged. The humans had accomplished in one battle what no other species had managed in entire wars. For the first time in Keth military history, an invasion fleet had been forced to retreat and call for reinforcements. The easy conquest of Earth was over before it had truly begun. Chat Control Sonnet 4. General Bei Wanho stood in the war room deep beneath Seoul, watching reports flow in from across the solar system. The first battle had gone well, but he knew the real fight was just beginning. The aliens would adapt, and humanity needed to stay ahead of them. Phase 2 begins now, General Bei announced to his staff. We show them what human warfare really looks like. The Keth Empire had rules for war that had worked for 300 years. Big ships fought other big ships in straight lines. The strongest weapons won. The largest fleet always defeated the smaller one. But humans had different rules. Lieutenant Commander Shin Yujin piloted her modified cargo ship through the debris field left by the first battle. Her ship looked damaged and helpless, drifting like a piece of space junk. But inside, her crew prepared for their most dangerous mission yet. Target acquired, her weapons officer reported. Keth Supply Convoy. 3 ships, minimal escort. The Keth Supply ships carried fuel, ammunition, and spare parts for the invasion fleet. Without supplies, even the most powerful warships would become helpless. Lieutenant Commander Shin had studied cargo ship operations her entire career. Now she would use that knowledge to hurt the enemy where they least expected it. Her ship suddenly came alive, engines burning at full power as hidden weapon ports opened along her hull. The modified mining lasers had 10 times the power of normal industrial equipment. The kinetic weapons were built from asteroid mining gear, launching chunks of metal at incredible speeds. The Keth escort ships tried to respond, but they were designed to fight other warships, not fast-moving raiders that attacked and disappeared. Lieutenant Commander Shin's squadron hit the convoy from 6 different directions, disabled 3 supply ships, and vanished back into the asteroid field before the aliens could mount an effective defense. Supplies captured, she reported to General Bei. Engineering teams are already studying the alien technology. Admiral Vex Morden paced the bridge of his flagship, trying to understand what had gone wrong. His invasion force had been reduced to less than 200 ships, and now the humans were attacking his supply lines. This was not how conquests were supposed to work. Implement Bombardment Protocol 7, Admiral Morden ordered. Destroy their population centers. Make them surrender through fear. The Keth bombardment ships moved toward Earth, their weapons charging with enough power to turn entire cities into craters. This was the aliens' answer to any resistance. When species would not surrender willingly, the Keth would destroy their homes until they had no choice. But Major Park Soyoung had been waiting for this moment. Her railgun platforms on the far side of the moon had been built specifically to stop orbital bombardment. Each platform could launch tungsten projectiles at 40% the speed of light, fast enough to penetrate any armor. Enemy bombardment fleet detected, Major Park reported to the Lunar Command Center. All platforms locked on target. Firing. Sequence initiated. The tungsten rods streaked across space faster than the Keth sensors could track them. Each rod weighed only a few kilograms, but at that speed they carried the destructive power of nuclear weapons. The bombardment ships exploded one by one as the projectiles punched through their hulls like paper. Admiral Morden watched in horror as his bombardment fleet was destroyed before firing a single shot at Earth. The humans had weapons he had never seen before, firing from positions he could not locate. His ships were being picked apart by an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere. Dr. Lim Yamin worked around the clock in his laboratory, studying the alien technology captured from the supply convoy. Each piece of Keth equipment revealed new weaknesses in their designs. Their power systems used crystal matrices that could be overloaded. Their computer networks had security gaps that human hackers could exploit. I have found something important, Dr. Lim announced to the Defense Council. The Keth shield generators use harmonic frequencies. If we can match those frequencies exactly, their shields will cancel themselves out. Within hours, every human weapon in the solar system was being recalibrated. Dr. Lim's discovery would allow human guns and missiles to punch through alien defenses as if the shields did not exist. The technological advantage that the Keth relied on was disappearing, Commander. Ji-hoon prepared his fleet for the most ambitious operation of the war so far. His ships were hidden in the gas clouds around Jupiter, using the planet's massive radiation field to mask their energy signatures. The Keth would never expect an attack from this direction. "All ships report ready," Commander O said into his communication device. "Operation Thunder begins in 10 minutes. The Keth had sent a resource extraction fleet to Jupiter's moons, planning to mine the materials they needed to build more ships. It was standard Keth military doctrine to secure local resources during long campaigns, but they had not expected the humans to be waiting for them. 200 human ships emerged from Jupiter's radiation field like ghosts becoming solid. They moved in perfect coordination, each ship knowing exactly where the others would be. The Keth extraction fleet found itself surrounded and outnumbered for the first time in their military history. "Execute attack pattern Delta," Commander O ordered. The human ships attacked from every direction at once, using Dr. Lim's frequency weapons to cut through alien shields. The Keth tried to form defensive positions, but human tactics were unlike anything they had faced. The human ships moved like a swarm of insects, each one small but deadly when working together. Dr. Kwan Min-hee made the breakthrough that would change everything. Working with captured alien communication equipment, she had found a way to send messages faster than light across the entire solar system. Human forces could now coordinate their attacks in real time, even when separated by billions of kilometers. "Communications network is active," Dr. Kwan reported to Admiral Han Minji. "All human forces can now share information instantly." Admiral Han smiled as she watched the tactical display update with real-time information from every human ship and base in the solar system. The Keth fought as individual fleets with slow communication between them. Humans now fought as one giant organism with a shared nervous system. Captain Zheng Hanyul commanded the first ship built with fully integrated human-alien technology. The Soul's Pride looked like a human vessel but used Keth power systems and weapons. It was faster than any ship either species had built before, and its weapons could punch through any known armor. "Captain, we are approaching the Keth defensive line," her tactical officer reported. Captain Zhang studied the enemy formation through her ship's advanced sensors. The aliens had arranged their remaining ships in a defensive wall, hoping to protect their command vessels. It was a good strategy against conventional attacks, but humans did not fight conventionally. "All ships, execute spiral attack pattern," Captain Zhang ordered her squadron. "Maximum speed, hit-and-run tactics. Don't let them pin us down." The human ships dove through the Keth defensive line like bullets through cloth, firing as they passed, and then disappearing before the aliens could respond effectively. Each pass destroyed several alien ships while the humans took minimal damage. Admiral Morden realized that his invasion force was being destroyed by tactics he could not understand. The humans fought like no other species he had ever encountered. They were faster, more coordinated, and more unpredictable than should have been possible for a primitive civilization. "Request immediate reinforcements from High Command," Admiral Morden ordered. "Full battle fleet, maximum priority." The message that reached Keth space carried words that had never been used before in the Empire's history. An invasion force was requesting help. A Keth fleet was losing to a primitive species. The impossible was happening. Colonel Seo Dong-yoon led his special forces team aboard a captured Keth transport ship. His mission was the most dangerous yet attempted by human forces. He would infiltrate the alien command ship and gather intelligence about their military capabilities and plans. "Remember," Colonel Seo told his team, "we need to know everything about their empire. How many ships do they have? Where are their bases? What other wars are they fighting? This information could save Earth." His team moved through the alien ship like shadows, avoiding Keth security systems and gathering data from their computers. What they found was more valuable than they had hoped. The Keth Empire was fighting wars on 12 different worlds. Their forces were scattered across hundreds of star systems. "Command, this is Colonel Seo," he reported back to Earth. "The aliens are not as strong as they appear. They are fighting multiple wars simultaneously. Their resources are stretched thin. General Bei Wanho received the intelligence report with growing excitement. The Keth had seemed invincible because humans had only seen one small part of their military, but the Empire was actually overextended and vulnerable. Begin Phase 3 preparations, General Bei ordered. We are going to take this war to them. The Battle of Jupiter's Moons ended with complete human victory. The Keth resource extraction fleet was destroyed, and their main invasion force had been reduced to fewer than 100 ships. Admiral Morden's perfect conquest had turned into a military disaster. As the alien survivors retreated toward the edge of the solar system, Admiral Han Minji prepared for the next phase of Earth's defense. The humans had proven they could protect their homeworld. Now it was time to show the galaxy that humanity would not simply hide behind their defenses. All fleet commanders prepare for deep space operations, Admiral Han announced. We are taking the fight to the enemy. For the first time in 300 years, a Keth invasion had not only failed, but had been completely reversed. The hunters had become the hunted, and humanity was ready to teach the galaxy a new way to fight wars. Ambassador Yundeho had never expected to become humanity's first interstellar diplomat. 2 weeks ago, he had been negotiating trade deals between Earth nations. Now he was preparing to contact alien species across the galaxy using technology stolen from Keth warships. The intelligence gathered by Colonel Seo's team had revealed something remarkable. The Keth Empire ruled over 40 different species, but they maintained control through fear alone. None of their subject worlds had ever successfully rebelled because they fought alone, one planet against the entire empire. This changes everything. Ambassador Yoon explained to President Kim Tae-yeon during their secure video conference. If we can contact the other species under Keth control, we might not be fighting this war alone. President Kim studied the star charts showing Keth territory. Red markers indicated worlds under alien occupation. Yellow markers showed ongoing resistance movements. Blue markers represented species that had been completely conquered decades ago. How many species are actively resisting Keth rule? President Kim asked. According to their military communications, at least 8 worlds are currently fighting independence wars, Ambassador Yoon replied. The Keth are maintaining occupation forces on 37 planets simultaneously. They are much weaker than they appeared. Captain Jeng Hanyul stood on the bridge of Seoul's Pride, watching her engineering teams install the final components of their hybrid propulsion system. Her ship would be humanity's first vessel capable of faster-than-light travel, built using captured Keth technology and human engineering principles. Captain, her chief engineer reported, the new drive system is ready for testing. We can reach any star system within 50 light-years in less than a week. Captain Jeng felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Her ship would carry humanity's first message to other species fighting Keth occupation. The success or failure of these diplomatic missions could determine the outcome of the war. The Seoul's Pride engaged its hybrid drive and disappeared from normal space, traveling faster than light toward the Proxima Centauri system. Intelligence reports indicated that the local species there had been fighting Keth occupation forces for 6 months. Admiral Vex Morden received the message he had been dreading. Keth High Command was sending a battle fleet to investigate why his invasion had failed so completely. Admiral Tor Vexen would arrive within 10 days with 300 fresh warships and orders to complete the conquest of Earth. Admiral, his communications officer said nervously, there is something else. We are receiving reports of increased rebel activity across multiple sectors. The humans appear to be contacting our subject species. Admiral Morden felt his blood turn cold. If the humans were encouraging rebellion among Keth subject worlds, the Empire could face its greatest crisis in centuries. The Keth maintained control through the belief that resistance was hopeless. If that belief was broken, everything could collapse. Commander Oh Ji-hoon led a strike force to the Volf 359 system, where Keth forces maintained a forward supply base. His mission was to gather intelligence about enemy reinforcements while denying them the resources they needed for their next assault on Earth. Target acquired, his tactical officer reported. Keth Supply Depot, minimal defenses, perfect for a raid. The human ships emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, their sensors immediately scanning for enemy vessels. The Keth base was exactly where intelligence reports had indicated, protected by only a dozen patrol ships. All ships execute lightning strike pattern, Commander O ordered. Hit fast, gather intelligence, get out. The attack lasted only 30 minutes, but it achieved everything Commander O had hoped. His forces destroyed the supply depot, captured the base computer core, and escaped before Keth reinforcements could arrive. The intelligence gathered would reveal enemy fleet positions across 3 star systems. Dr. Kwan Min Hee worked frantically to decode the captured Keth military communications. Each message revealed more about the Empire's true situation: fleet movements between systems, resource shortages on occupied worlds, growing unrest among subject species. General Bay, Dr. Kwan announced over the secure communication channel. The Keth are in serious trouble. They are fighting major rebellions on at least 12 worlds. Their military is stretched beyond its limits. General Bay studied the intelligence reports with growing amazement. The mighty Keth Empire that had terrified Earth was actually struggling to maintain control over its territory. Their invasion of Earth had been an act of desperation, not strength. Captain Zhang returned from her diplomatic mission with news that changed everything. The species on Proxima Centauri B had agreed to coordinate their resistance with Earth's military operations. Similar agreements were being negotiated with rebels on 8 other worlds. Mr. President, Captain Zhang reported, we are no longer fighting alone. The galaxy is ready to rise up against Keth rule, but they need our help to coordinate their efforts. President Kim realized that Earth had an opportunity to do more than just defend itself. Humanity could become the catalyst for the liberation of dozens of worlds. But it would require taking enormous risks. Admiral Han Mingji prepared for the largest military operation in human history. Her combined fleet now included 200 Earth vessels enhanced with captured alien technology. Their target was the Keth Forward Command Base in the Ross 128 system. All ship commanders, Admiral Han announced during the fleet briefing, this operation will determine whether we remain trapped in our solar system or take our place as a major power in the galaxy. Failure is not an option. The human fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, carrying hopes for freedom across multiple worlds. In the Keth Empire's forward command base, Admiral Vel Korsten received his first warning that something unprecedented was approaching his position. Admiral, his sensor operator reported, we are detecting a large fleet approaching at high speed. Configuration unknown, but they are using modified Keth drive signatures. Admiral Korsten had never heard of such a thing. Only Keth ships should be capable of faster-than-light travel in this region of space. But the sensor readings were clear. Someone else had acquired their technology and was coming in force. The Battle of Ross 128 began when Admiral Han's fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. The human ships immediately engaged the Keth defense fleet using tactics that had been refined through months of solar system fighting. Colonel Seo led his special forces teams in a direct assault on the Keth command station while the space battle raged around them. His mission was to capture Admiral Korsten and gather intelligence about Keth's strategic plans across the entire region. Intelligence package secured, Colonel Seo reported as his team fought through the alien station. We have their complete strategic database. The intelligence revealed that the Keth Empire was simultaneously fighting independence wars on 15 worlds. Their military was divided among dozens of different fronts, with no strategic reserve available for major operations. Admiral Han watched the last Keth ships in the system surrender or flee. The forward command base was now under human control, and the intelligence gathered would allow Earth to coordinate liberation efforts across multiple star systems. All ships, Admiral Han announced, prepare for extended operations. We are not going home until every world in this region is free. News of the human victory at Ross 128 spread throughout Keth. territory faster than their military communications could suppress it. Species that had been conquered decades ago began organizing resistance movements. Worlds that had never successfully rebelled suddenly believed that freedom was possible on Earth. President Kim received reports of uprisings on 23 different worlds. The Keth Empire was beginning to collapse from within, triggered by humanity's example of successful resistance. "The tide has turned," President Kim announced to the United Nations Emergency Assembly. "We are no longer fighting for survival, we are fighting for the freedom of the galaxy." Admiral Vex Morden received the news of Ross 128's fall while preparing for his own reinforcement mission to Earth. The strategic situation had changed completely. Instead of conquering one rebellious world, the Keth Empire now faced galaxy-wide revolution. The invasion fleet that had been intended to crush Earth's resistance was redirected to fight desperate holding actions across a dozen different systems. For the first time in 300 years, the Keth Empire was fighting for its own survival. Humanity had not only defended their homeworld, but had become the spark that ignited the greatest rebellion in galactic history. The species that had seemed helplessly primitive just months before was now leading a coalition of worlds against their former masters. The age of Keth domination was ending, and the age of galactic freedom was about to begin. President Kim Tae-yeon stood before the emergency session of the United Nations, but his words were being heard across the galaxy. Human faster-than-light communication technology now connected Earth to rebel movements on 30 different worlds. "Today, we begin Operation Homecoming," President Kim announced. "We will not wait for the Keth Empire to recover and attack us again. We will carry the fight to them and free every enslaved world we can reach." Admiral Han Minji commanded the largest fleet in human history from the bridge of her new flagship, the Earth's Promise. 200 ships equipped with hybrid human Keth technology prepared for humanity's first major interstellar offensive. Their target was the Keth regional capital at Kepler 442. "All fleet commanders," Admiral Han broadcast, "remember that we are not conquerors, we are liberators. Our mission is to free enslaved worlds, not to build our own empire." Colonel Co. Dong-yoon led an advance team aboard a captured Keth transport, heading for the heavily defended world of Tau Ceti. Intelligence reports indicated that the local population had been enslaved for over 50 years, but underground resistance movements were still active. Team leaders, Colonel Seo briefed his special forces, "Our job is to contact the local resistance and coordinate with their liberation efforts. We provide weapons, training, and tactical support. They provide local knowledge and popular support." The Keth regional governor on Kepler 442 received alarming reports from across his territory. Human fleets were appearing in multiple star systems simultaneously, supporting local uprisings and destroying Keth military installations. The systematic conquest that had taken centuries to build was unraveling in a matter of weeks. "How are they moving so fast?" Governor Taze Morkan demanded from his military advisors. "Our intelligence reports indicated that humans had only recently developed spaceflight." His chief military advisor studied the tactical displays with growing concern. "Governor, the humans appear to have reverse-engineered our technology and improved upon it. Their ships are faster than ours and their weapons are more effective." Commander Oh Ji-hoon's strike force hit 3 Keth supply convoys in the Alpha Centauri region within 2 days. Each successful raid denied the aliens critical resources while providing human forces with more captured technology to study and improve. "Supply convoy Zeta destroyed," Commander Oh reported to Fleet Command. "We have captured enough spare parts and ammunition to supply our operations for another month." Dr. Lim Ya-min had established mobile research laboratories aboard human warships, allowing him to analyze captured alien technology in real time during military operations. Each new piece of Keth equipment revealed additional weaknesses that could be exploited in future battles. "Admiral Han," Dr. Lim reported, "I have discovered something important. The Keth use a centralized command system for all their military operations. If we can capture their regional command center, we can disrupt their coordination across dozens of star systems." The battle for Kepler 442 began when Admiral Han's fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in the outer system. The Keth had fortified the world with orbital defense platforms and a garrison fleet of over 100 warships. Captain Zheng Hanyul led the first wave of the assault, her squadron of hybrid ships moving faster than the Keth defenses could track. The Soul's Pride and her sister ships punched through the alien defensive line using frequency weapons that made their shields useless. Defense platforms neutralized, Captain Zheng reported. The invasion corridor is clear. General Ru Sungman coordinated the planetary assault from his command ship in orbit around Kepler 442. His forces included not only human soldiers but also resistance fighters from 6 different liberated worlds, each contributing their unique knowledge of Keth military tactics. All landing forces, General Ru announced, remember that the civilian population has been enslaved for decades. They may not trust us initially. Show them through your actions that we are here to free them, not to conquer them. The ground assault on Kepler 442 lasted 3 days. Keth garrison forces, trained to suppress unarmed populations, found themselves facing coordinated military operations supported by local uprisings. Their standard crowd control tactics were useless against organized resistance, Colonel SEOs. Team successfully infiltrated the Keth Regional Command Center during the height of the battle. They captured Governor Morkan and seized the central computer systems containing strategic information about Keth operations across the entire sector. Command Center secured, Colonel SEO reported. We have complete intelligence on Keth military deployments across 47 star systems. The intelligence gathered from Kepler 442 revealed the full extent of Keth military weakness. Their empire was maintained by relatively small occupation forces on each world, supported by the belief that resistance was hopeless, but successful rebellions were proving that belief wrong. Dr. Quan Min-hee worked with the captured Keth communication systems to broadcast messages of liberation across the empire. Her transmissions reached enslaved populations on dozens of worlds, providing technical information about human resistance tactics and encouraging local uprisings. Message sent to all occupied worlds in this sector, Dr. Quan reported. We are providing them with detailed instructions for building weapons and communication systems from available materials. The Keth High Command faced a crisis unlike anything in their 300-year history. Reports flooded in from across the empire describing successful rebellions, destroyed garrison forces, and worlds declaring independence. The systematic control they had maintained for centuries was collapsing. Emperor Keth Voss convened his war council for the first time since the empire's founding. The ancient alien ruler had never imagined that his invincible military machine could be threatened by primitive species from the galaxy's outer regions. How many worlds have declared independence? Emperor Voss demanded from his military commanders. 43. Confirmed, Your Excellence, replied Supreme General Morvekton. An additional 27 worlds have gone silent and are presumed to be in rebellion. Ambassador Yundeho established diplomatic contact with representatives from 15 different species that had successfully thrown off Keth rule. His mission was to create a formal alliance that could coordinate liberation efforts and provide mutual defense against Keth counterattacks. We proposed the formation of a Galactic Liberation Alliance, Ambassador Yun announced during the first interspecies diplomatic conference in the Proxima Centauri system. Together we can ensure that no species will ever again face the choice between slavery and destruction. The alliance grew rapidly as more worlds achieved independence. Each new member brought unique technologies, resources, and knowledge about Keth military operations in their regions of space. What had started as Earth's desperate defense had become a galaxy-wide revolution. Admiral Vex Morden, the commander whose failed invasion of Earth had triggered the galactic uprising, was recalled to the Keth capital to face judgment for his failures. His replacement, Admiral Cor Malthan, was given command of the largest Keth battle fleet ever assembled, 500 warships, tasked with crushing the rebellion once and for all. The humans started this war, Admiral Malthan announced to his fleet commanders. We will finish it by destroying Earth and making an example that will terrify other species back into submission. But intelligence reports reaching Admiral Malthan painted a disturbing picture. The human fleet had grown to over 400 ships, all equipped with advanced hybrid technology. More importantly, they were now supported by allied fleets from dozens of different species. General Ru coordinated liberation operations across 12 star systems simultaneously. His forces had evolved from a planetary defense force into an interstellar army capable of complex multi-system campaigns. Human military doctrine was being studied and adopted by resistance movements throughout the galaxy. Phase 3 operations are proceeding ahead of schedule, General Ru reported to President Kim. We have established secure supply lines across 15 star systems and are providing military support to active rebellions on 28 worlds. The Keth Empire's counteroffensive began with Admiral Malthan's massive fleet attacking the Alliance's main supply base at Volf 359, but the humans had learned to anticipate Keth tactics, and the attack found prepared defenses waiting. Captain Yang Xiuho, promoted to Admiral after his role in First Contact, commanded the defense of Volf 359 with a mixed fleet of human and allied vessels. The battle demonstrated how much military cooperation had advanced between different species. All allied ships, Admiral Yang broadcast, implement coordinated defense pattern Omega. Each species fights according to their strengths, supporting each other's weaknesses. The Battle of Volf 359 lasted for 6 hours and ended with Admiral Malthan's fleet in full retreat. The Keth had lost over 200 ships while the Alliance forces suffered minimal casualties. The tactical superiority that had once made the Keth Empire invincible had been completely reversed. News of the Volf 359 victory spread throughout Keth territory, triggering new uprisings on worlds that had remained loyal to the Empire. The psychological effect was devastating. The Keth military machine that had seemed invincible for centuries was being consistently defeated by the species it had intended to enslave. President Kim received reports that over 60 worlds had now declared independence from the Keth Empire. The galactic balance of power had shifted completely in less than a year since the aliens had first approached Earth. The counteroffensive has succeeded beyond our wildest expectations, President Kim announced to the Earth Global Defense Council. We are no longer fighting for our own freedom. We are leading the liberation of the galaxy. The Keth Empire, reduced to less than half its former territory and facing rebellions on most of its remaining worlds, prepared for a final desperate gambit. Emperor Voss would personally lead the last great Keth fleet in one final attempt to crush the rebellion at its source. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation between the galaxy's oldest empire and its newest alliance. Emperor Keth Voss had ruled the galaxy's most powerful empire for over 2 centuries. He had never known defeat, never experienced doubt, never imagined that his invincible war machine could be broken by primitive species from unknown worlds. But as he stood on the bridge of his personal dreadnought, watching the last great Keth fleet prepare for battle, he knew that his empire was dying. Supreme Commander, Emperor Voss addressed his highest military officer, this is our final chance to save the Empire. If we cannot crush this rebellion, the Keth will fade into history. Supreme General Morvektan studied the tactical displays showing the approaching human alliance fleet. 800 ships from 23 different species were moving toward the Keth home system in perfect coordination. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Your Excellence, General Vecton replied carefully, our intelligence indicates that the human fleet uses tactics we have never encountered. They coordinate multiple species in ways that should be impossible. Admiral Han Minji commanded the Alliance fleet from her flagship, now renamed the Galaxy's Hope, around her. Species that had been enemies for centuries worked together with unprecedented cooperation. The Proxima navigation specialists guided ships through dangerous space. The Tau Cetian engineers maintained the complex hybrid drive systems. The Keplerian communication experts coordinated movements across the entire fleet. All fleet commanders, Admiral Han broadcast on the Alliance channel, Today, we end 300 years of Keth tyranny. Remember that we fight not for conquest, but for freedom. When this battle is over, every species in the galaxy will be free to choose its own destiny. President Kim Tae-yun monitored the battle preparations from Earth's command center, but his thoughts were already turning to the future. Win or lose, this conflict had changed the galaxy forever. Dozens of species had learned to work together, sharing technology and knowledge in ways that had never been possible under Keth rule. Director On, President Kim addressed his chief. Diplomatic advisor, begin preparing frameworks for post-war cooperation. When the Keth Empire falls, we need to be ready to help build something better. Director On Jeong had been working with representatives from every allied species to design a new form of galactic government. Unlike the Keth Empire's rule through fear and force, the new alliance would be based on voluntary cooperation and mutual benefit. Mr. President, Director On reported, we have preliminary agreements from 37 species to join a permanent defensive alliance. Each world would maintain its independence while contributing to collective security. The Battle of the Keth home system began when the Alliance fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the ancient Empire's capital system. The Keth had fortified their home with every defensive weapon they possessed, orbital battle stations, automated missile platforms, and a defensive fleet of 600 warships. Captain Jeng Hanyul led the first wave of Alliance ships through the outer defensive perimeter. Her hybrid vessels used Keth technology improved by human engineering and enhanced by innovations from a dozen different species. The Soul's Pride had become the prototype for a new generation of warships that no single species could have built alone. Outer defense stations neutralized, Captain Jeng reported. The Alliance fleet is cleared to advance. The Keth defenders fought with the desperation of a dying empire. Their ships performed suicide runs against Alliance vessels. Their commanders ignored standard tactical doctrine in favor of all-out attacks. But coordination and superior technology overcame desperate courage. Colonel Seo Dong-yoon led the final assault on the Keth Imperial Palace, fighting through the ancient fortress that had been the center of galactic oppression for centuries. His mixed team of human soldiers and Alliance special forces represented the new era of interspecies military cooperation. Imperial Palace secured, Colonel Seo reported. Emperor Voss has been captured alive. General Ru Sungmin coordinated the occupation of the Keth capital world, but his orders were clear. This would not be a traditional conquest. Alliance forces would maintain order while the local population chose its own government for the first time in 300 years. All occupation forces, General Ru broadcast, remember that we are liberators, not conquerors. Our job is to protect the civilian population while they organize their own democratic government. The surrender of Emperor Voss marked the end of the Keth Empire, but it was only the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. Dr. Kwon Min-hee established communication networks connecting every liberated world, allowing unprecedented cooperation in science, trade, and cultural exchange. Communication network established, Dr. Kwon announced. Every species in the Alliance can now share knowledge and coordinate research projects across the galaxy. The trial of Emperor Voss became the galaxy's first interspecies court proceeding. Representatives from 60 different worlds participated in judging the crimes committed during 3 centuries of Keth rule. The proceedings were broadcast across the galaxy, establishing precedents for interspecies justice. Ambassador Yoon Dae-ho served as the chief prosecutor, presenting evidence of systematic oppression, forced labor, and cultural destruction carried out by Keth forces across dozens of worlds. But the trial also established that individual Keth citizens would not be punished for the crimes of their government. Justice, Ambassador Yoon announced in his closing statement, requires not only punishment for past crimes but also prevention of future ones. We propose not vengeance but transformation. The Galactic Liberation Alliance officially formed 6 months after the fall of the Keth Empire. 73 species signed the founding charter, establishing principles of voluntary membership, mutual defense, and cooperative development that would govern interspecies relations for generations to come. President Kim was elected as the Alliance's first Secretary General, but the position was designed to rotate among different species every 5 years. No single world would ever again dominate galactic affairs as the Keth had done. Admiral Han Minji transformed the Alliance military from a war fleet into a peacekeeping force. Ships that had been built for liberation were retrofitted for exploration, rescue operations, and defense against external threats. The galaxy's greatest military force became its greatest instrument of peace. "The Alliance fleet stands ready," Admiral Han announced at the first Galactic Defense Council meeting, "to protect any member world from external threats while respecting the sovereignty of all species." The transformation of former Keth worlds proceeded peacefully in most cases. Species that had been enslaved for generations needed time to rebuild their cultures and governments, but Alliance support helped accelerate the process. Within 2 years, most former Empire worlds had established democratic governments and joined the Alliance voluntarily. Captain Yang Xiaoho, now commanding the Exploration Division, led missions to contact species beyond the former Keth territory. The galaxy was larger than anyone had imagined, and first contact protocols developed during the war ensured that new meetings would be based on cooperation rather than conquest. "First contact with the Centauran Confederation successful, Captain," Yang reported. "They are interested in joining our alliance and contributing to galactic peace." The Keth home system became a symbol of transformation rather than destruction. The former imperial capital was converted into the Alliance's diplomatic center, where representatives from hundreds of worlds worked together to solve galactic problems through negotiation rather than force. Dr. Limon established the Galactic Technology Sharing Institute on the former Keth capital world. Scientists from every Alliance species worked together on projects that no single world could accomplish alone: faster-than-light communication networks, planetary terraforming systems, and medical advances that benefited all species. Today we announce successful development of universal translation technology, Dr. Lime declared at the Institute's first major conference. Language barriers between species are now a thing of the past. 5 years after the fall of the Keth Empire, the galaxy had been completely transformed. Trade networks connected hundreds of worlds. Scientific collaboration had accelerated technological development beyond anything achieved during centuries of imperial rule. Cultural exchange programs allowed species to learn from each other while maintaining their unique identities. President Kim stood before the 5th Annual Galactic Alliance Assembly, looking out at representatives from over 200 species that had chosen to join the voluntary confederation. The room buzzed with dozens of different languages, all instantly translated for every participant. 5 years ago, President Kim began his address. Humanity faced what seemed like certain destruction. Today, we are part of a galactic community that our grandparents could never have imagined. We have proven that cooperation is stronger than conquest, that diversity is more powerful than uniformity, and that freedom is worth any sacrifice to achieve and preserve. The applause that followed came from beings of 100 different shapes and forms, but their message was universal. The age of empire was over, and the age of alliance had begun. In the outer regions of the galaxy, automated monitoring stations watched for signs of external threats. The alliance had learned from humanity's example that preparation and vigilance were the prices of freedom. Never again would any species face the choice between slavery and destruction. Admiral Han, now serving as the Alliance's Supreme Defense Coordinator, reviewed reports from exploration fleets discovering new civilizations throughout the galaxy. Each contact was approached with the principles learned during humanity's first contact with the Keth: respect, caution, and the offer of cooperation rather than the demand for submission. The galaxy that had once been ruled by fear and force was now governed by hope and voluntary cooperation. Species that had been enemies for millennia worked together on projects that benefited everyone. The dream of galactic peace, which had seemed impossible under Keth rule, had become reality through the alliance of free worlds, and at the center of it all, Earth continued to serve not as a conqueror but as an example. Proof that even the smallest and seemingly weakest species could change the course of galactic history. When they refused to accept that freedom was impossible, the stars themselves seemed brighter in a galaxy where every species was free to choose its own destiny.